Let's talk about early versus late diagnosed autism. Unfortunately, there are a lot of late diagnosed autistic folks on these apps who pose their childhood experiences as inherently harder than early diagnosed folks, that they didn't have the same supports, validation, or understanding of their autism. But that just isn't true. Early diagnosis does not necessarily mean someone had access to supports, accommodations, or validating environment. It just means they got diagnosed. And let's not forget, autism education and awareness was not so great 20 some years ago, friends. Just because your family knew you were autistic doesn't mean they supported you. It doesn't mean you had an accepting environment or access to supports. It doesn't even mean you knew about the diagnosis. And very often, being an openly disabled child in an ableist world can make you incredibly vulnerable to peers, adults, to anyone, and increase your chance of harassment, assault, and abuse. We also have to discuss that many early diagnosed folks didn't have the option to not get diagnosed. The diagnosis was required to access life-saving supports that many low-support autistic folks would never need. And that isn't to say that medium and high-support autistic folks can't be late diagnosed, as they absolutely can too. But I say this as a late diagnosed, low-support needs autistic person. I'm not trying to downplay the struggles of growing up not knowing you're disabled. I get it, but you don't have to put down someone else's experience with disability to validate yours, especially when we all benefit from more disabled folks getting their needs met. This us versus them mentality also largely forgets the importance of privilege, the impacts of racism, anti-queer trans violence, economic status, and much more on how we're able to access care. And the thing is, autism supports aren't a piece of pie. Someone else getting supports isn't the reason you aren't getting yours. Instead of being mad someone else had access to something you didn't, get mad at the prevailing systems and policies that make diagnosis and care hard for disabled folks if all support needs to access. Bye, friends.